But man, I saw your passion last night.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. And I got to be honest, man, through this whole run with OKC and all that they've built the last 20 years, and Sam Presti, the GM's done a phenomenal job of building a better team. Honestly, Salk, I was like, whatever, it's in the distance. It doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm not really that invested. I don't really care. And then it got to championship game last night. And I'm like, oh man, I really want the Thunder to lose. It just drudged up a bunch of like anger. Like, this shouldn't be. Screw you, Clay Bennett. How could you do this, Mayor Nichols? Come on, Howard Schultz. Maybe the dumbest business decision for a smart businessman that you ever made in your life. You sold that thing for 300 some million. It's now worth $3 billion. Like, and obviously, some of the other minority owners, it wasn't their say. I saw people talking about it. It wasn't John Stanton's say as a minority owner. That was Howard. Howard was done. Howard was done with the NBA. He was done with the players. He was done with the whole thing. He was done with the commissioner. He was done with David Stern. And yeah, last night just drudged up, Salk. Seriously, a lot of that emotion to the point where it was not healthy. And that I had to, in the fourth quarter, just walk away. I can't do this. I'm getting so mad. Molly's over there working her butt off on these paper plates, and I'm over here just fuming and steaming. And I know she kind of gave me that look. I'm like, I'm out. All right, I get it. I'm childish. I'm immature. I'm angry.
Well, I don't think this qualifies as that. I mean, childish, immature, angry is when your team is losing and you're kind of being a baby about it, right? Like, I get that. This is not that. This is a different kind of emotion. This isn't, hey, I've chosen a team because, for whatever reason, and they're losing and I can't handle it because I'm a sore loser.
Yep.
This is actual like life emotion. I would say that's a very, very different feeling.
Honestly, it was seeing like the pictures. It was weird, man. Just watching the game and just seeing like, oh, there's Detlef Schrempf. Oh, there's Hershey Hawkins. Oh, there's Nate McMillan. Oh, there's Gary Payton. Oh, there's Sean Kemp. There's all these guys that did all these amazing things and won so many games, Salk. And, the
Wait,
Sonics.
they were all there?
No, but those were the images in my head.
Okay. Sorry. I thought you meant they were there.
No. No. I don't, And I can only
they didn't
imagine.
really do any of that. I would give ESPN and Mike Breen and the other guys credit. They didn't do that. They didn't say like they're first since 79 or anything.
I think they've
that.
heard. I think they've heard
Right.
and seen that that's a non-starter. That's a loss leader. Let's not go down that road. But the Sonics, you also, and it predated you, right? I mean, that was all happening just as we started the show.
It happened
in 09.
right before we started, right? We came on the air April of 09. The Sonics left in 08.
And we have seen with our sports teams here that we're the flagship of some peaks and valleys, some ups and downs. Largely the last almost 2 decades, the Seahawks have been pretty darn good to a Super Bowl in 05, been to 2 other Super Bowls, won one of those. They've been pretty good, Salk, but there were some lean years in the 90s, right? The Mariners, there have been some lean years, and we got to fortunately see a drought end. You got to understand, man, the Sonics were good. Sonics were world champs in 79. Sonics had like great players. The Sonics through the 90s and George Carl, they went to the finals. Had it not been for Michael Jordan, who knows? They could have had a couple rings. Like, they were quality organization, great players, winners. Like, just, yeah, man, and the whole city was just all around them. And last night, and I don't think I was alone in that, looking a little bit at social media and just seeing the response to my tweet. Yeah, there was a lot that I think it just, hey, man, out of sight, out of mind. Well, that was right in your sight, and that was right in your mind last night, and you couldn't escape it. And yeah, that drudged up a whole bunch of just rage and emotion out of your boy last night.
Truly an unbelievable stretch of play from Tyrese Halliburton, and I do want to give him credit with that. It's also hard as Seattle fans not to look at this, and it's not like maybe you are. I'm not like spewing hate at OKC fans per se. I had to stop the game. It was obvious earlier than this that OKC was going to win, but I had to stop the game with about 2 or 3 minutes left in the fourth because I didn't want to watch the celebration.
Well, one thing we learned in the Sonics relocation is that fans ultimately don't get a say in stuff like this. Like, we can root and we can wear the colors of our favorite teams and cheer them on and do all that, but ultimately we don't wield as much power.
Can I
think,
also
as
say
we
there's a
should.
lot of misinformation among the OKC fan base about that, because I guess whatever helps you sleep at night, you have to be fed a story that no. Sonics fans lost their team because they voted against an arena and they voted against the team, and they had every effort to save it.
Just funded
exactly.
2 stadiums.
It is not that simple, but again, there's a very warped version of history that's prevalent in OKC.
Yeah, and the Key Arena had been remodeled less than a decade prior to the move.
So I don't blame fans per se for thinking that. I think it's very intentionally misled.
It did bring up a lot of old wounds last night, watching that game kind of tick down to the end. I was like you, I couldn't watch the end. Like I did not have it within me to watch them celebrate. Didn't watch SportsCenter after the game or anything like that. It was really tough to watch. And I think the only thing that I'm kind of taking solace in today is that a stolen franchise like Oklahoma City, their first championship, gets this asterisk of like, well, what could have happened in Game 7 if Tyrese Halliburton were healthy the entire way? Like, the story from last night's game is not OKC winning. It is Tyrese Halliburton and what could that game have looked like had he been healthy the entire way.
Because they got it within, like, I want to say 8 or 9 leads.
They had a halftime lead against Oklahoma City last night. So I'm glad that they don't get the kind of shine that most championship teams would get. It stinks that they're probably going to be right back in the thick of things, not just next year, but multiple years down the road, considering all the draft picks that they have acquired over the years, building that team through the draft. So last night stung probably the hardest it stung in terms of like NBA viewing for me since the Sonics left. It's almost like I wish that like the Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden era Thunder team had done it, because then it would have just ripped the Band-Aid right off. There wouldn't have been like all these years of, hoping and praying that Oklahoma City was never going to win the championship. But yeah, last night I couldn't help but think about like Howard Schultz and Clay Bennett and the late David Stern, and it's just like the blood from all of this is on your guys' hands.
Well,
like, this could have been so avoided.
It's awful watching like Bennett celebrate, and there are so many obviously OKC fans and reporters talking about, hey, props to Clay Bennett for making this happen. And it's like the unspoken part of history is that the team was stolen. And again, there is a misinformation campaign and has been for years and years and years to make sure that people in OKC are told a story or believe a story wherein Seattle lost their team because of them and not because of the selfishness of billionaires on either side of that sale, which is what really happened.
Truly. Like there was people point to the attendance in the final season of the Sonics. It's like we all knew the Sonics were leaving. Like it wasn't official, but we could see it coming from a mile away. And they're like, well, the Sonics were like 28th in attendance in their final season. It's like, no one wants to go give this ownership group money.
Those stories are always more complicated. Look at the conversation we all just had about the A's.
Right.
Is anyone stupid enough, truly stupid enough, to think, A's fans, they just weren't supportive. They weren't showing up. Yeah, I mean, if you isolate a single game and you see 5,000 fans in attendance for a major league game and you're like, oh my God, wow, they really didn't care. And then you realize that circumstances were encouraged by which that team could be relocated. It is a slightly different story and a slightly different approach. This one being with the A's at the time, of just very selfish team owner that wanted to go somewhere else and that kind of sunk his own team. And the other being a bad faith deal wherein everyone knew what was happening and there was a chance to save a franchise. Also, like, I'm sorry, should we just punish every single city when they have bad years? Or, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like when you struggle with stadium funding, like relocation is always a sin. Always.
And it's the worst thing in professional sports.
And I don't think, barring 2 teams' exodus to LA, I don't think it's something that happens nearly as much anymore because the league understands that the politics of relocation and what it looks like are different. It used to be this is on fans, shame on you. And just as a society, we've turned much more to being very critical of team owners and the powers that be. Like we're just we see it differently. I don't think that the Sonics get relocated if it's 2025. and
Probably
the same things
not.
are happening.
I mean, they did everything they could to keep the Kings in Sacramento when Chris Hansen tried to purchase that team and move them up here. We've seen a lot of others. I mean, the NBA so desperately wanted to keep then the Hornets in New Orleans, they're now the Pelicans, that the league purchased the team rather than having it get sold to an outside buyer.
And we have the honor of being the team that kind of probably prompted them to be like, ooh, we can't do that again.
As far as I can recall, there has not been an NBA relocation since the Sonics back in, 07, 08? I think they have yet to fully recover from that black eye, and they're not. I don't see it ever going away until Seattle gets a team back.